What's up, everybody? This is Drew here. Today I was going to go over some vocal chops. I came across a project file for a song, an original that I did months and months ago that I completely forgot about. And now it's the track that I'm definitely the most excited about. I'll go ahead and play it to you from the beginning. There's already some vocal chops in here. But one of the next things I wanted to do with the track was to expand the vocal chop. Right now it's like a 4-bar loop, and I want to be able to come up with some development and perhaps a verse 2, if you will. So today I'll be chopping audio, reversing audio, inverting audio, changing the pitch. I'm going to be using Melodyne today, and some Little Altar Boy, who makes that again? By Sound Toys, which is a really fun tool to mess with formants and stuff. So without further ado, here's the track from the beginning. This one is a dubstep, electro, sort of future-based thing, just my original sound. The mix is not very good. It gets pretty noisy during the middle section, but I hope you're excited to work on this with me today. There's some guitar that I played in this, but it was very like a demo guitar. Ultimately, I'm probably going to re-record that, but it works for an idea. All right, here we go. So from there, we're basically in another like verse section, but then it's basically looped, and I don't want it to just repeat, and I want to make the vocals do something more interesting at the build than just a loop. So let's go over this. I think I'm going to start by writing a vocal chop over this section. So first of all, let's play the current vocal chop I have. Getting some ghost mic noises in me. My mic has been acting up a little bit. I think that is better. All right, so let's hear just the vocal chop. All right, pretty trippy. So essentially, I was making this from the vocal stem that I got when I did a remix of this track a couple years ago at this point. The song was Rumors by Honey Rybar. I've remixed 2 of her tracks. Never actually met her, but been friends through the virtual email social media age. All right, so I made that a while back when I first made this track, so I'm gonna have to do some entirely new chopping. All right, so I have some ideas that I essentially had made yesterday, which isn't anything great yet. So I'll kind of explain what I'm gonna do. I'll show you the original vocal. I'm gonna work with the hook section. The song was called Rumors. Here that hook is on its own.
Instead of rumors, so you'll never be rumors. Everyone will see you're giving lies away. Your life will always stay rumors.
All right, cool. So my first step when I'm doing the vocal chop thing is to chop the vocal and to pick some sections that I think will be cool. So I'm listening for notes, for phrasing.
Rumors, so you'll never be rumors. Everyone will see you're
All right, so I'm gonna take the rumors, the giving, fantasy. All right, so I will pick some various chops and then I will select them all and bring them to the lower channel. Then we can hear this on its own.
rumors. Be
All right, so I'm gonna put my fades in. All right, let's work kind of fast. So the idea is, or at least the way I approach this is, first I'm really thinking rhythmically. The tone is important, but the actual note isn't going to matter. You'll see why. We're going to basically re-pitch this all as we please, perhaps mess with the formants as well. So I start by just making kind of a cool rhythmic pattern. Let's hear this. I'm going to turn the metronome on.
be rumors. Be Robbie. Mars. Robbie. Mars. Robbie. Mars. Robbie.
Check what I have.
You're giving. Robbie. You're. Robbie. You're. Robbie. You're. Mars. Be. You're giving. Robbie. You're lies. Mars. Robbie. You're lies. Robbie. You're lies. Robbie. You're lies. Robbie. You're lies. Mars. Robbie. You're lies. Mars.
Starting to come together. Let's hear how we could vary that every other measure.
Robbie. You're.
Every other four. Or
Robbie. You're lies.
every other measure. Sorry, trying to think and speak on a recording takes some getting used to. All right.
Robbie. You're lies. 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 Robbie. You're lies.
All right, cool. So then I'm going to throw some Melodyne on it. Let's see here. All right, so for those of you unfamiliar with Melodyne, Melodyne is sort of like a custom tuning plugin that works really well on vocals and instruments. You can do all sorts of crazy things. It can be something you use to craft the perfect vocal, or it can be something you use even more creatively to take a vocal and make it sound completely different. So to begin, we have to first get the actual vocal chop that we made into Melodyne. So I'm going to hit transfer here and play the track. All right, now one thing I did, which I didn't really talk about, I put fades in there so that we don't get any of the clipping sound. That's going to be pretty important. It's always kind of annoying when you do a lot of work and then you notice some sort of fragment in the audio that is an obstacle down the line. Never good. All right, so from here we can actually see the notes. Now it already sounds different. That's because the formants were turned down. All right, so in order to figure out how to a good like starting place for tuning it, I want to remind myself of what key that I'm in. Somewhat important. Let me see here. So to wrap it back into some music theory, we can use notes out of key as well. We can use our ear to figure out keys in music that we're playing with. But since I have the MIDI here, it's always, and I wrote this, it's easier for me to go check it. So it looks like we've got a B minor followed by a D major and what is that, second inversion, followed by an interesting chord. That's cool. That's like a E minor 7th, E minor 9th, perhaps, in second inversion. Doesn't really matter what it's called, but this tells me that the key of our song is going to be B minor. So one thing I could instantly do in Melodyne is put this into the key that we're going to be working with. I can do that right now. So in the key of B minor, that's going to be the same as D major. So we have F sharp and C sharp. So at this F, I could go up to the F sharp or down to E. Now, Melodyne sounds pretty terrible when you're doing that, but they give us like a very specific like sine sort of wave that helps to hear the pitch. So for what it's worth. Now we get this. Alright, so now I want to add some chords or bring some chords over so that I can hear it in context. Whoops, let me do that. Let's put it. Alright, so then we can get even more creative with it. I'll chop these notes up.
You're being lied. You're being lied. You're being lied.
All right. Sorry. You just kind of have to like zone in and start. You get to like understand which blob in Melodyne is corresponding to which part of the phrase, and it's very fluid in that like I can change a note and then see how it sounds, change it again. That's sort of the bonus of this digital stuff. It wasn't totally far off in key. It looked like perhaps it was an A before a major, I believe, or maybe E major, but it doesn't matter. So now it's closer to where we want, but the fun with this really starts to happen when we mess with the formants. So in Melodyne up here, that little lines up and down, that's how we change the global formants. Formants are a really interesting thing that has been explained to me, specifically like how to create those, but to my understanding it's essentially a harmonic manipulator, sort of like an EQ that's applied to the frequency, and which creates different sibilances or vocal sort of sounds. So if I turn it down, it's going to be like this. Which is pretty cool to begin with. Or what I can do is use our actual format button to custom change some of these. Let me just turn down Melodyne while I do this. Now, the cool thing about formats is it's not actually changing the key or the note that we're at. It's more like a tone thing. So we can go up for like the chipmunk type sound, or we can go down for that deep sound. You probably, if you listen to a lot of electronic music, you probably heard these formats being messed around. I mean, we hear it a lot in pretty much every genre, but here we go.
You're being lied. 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 You're being lied.
All right, getting closer. Cool. So now that we have a good section, you'll notice it doesn't look like anything's changed here. That's because everything is in the Melodyne plugin. So what I want to do here is do a bounce in place. That way it's going to print Melodyne. Melodyne's pretty heavy on the CPU, so it can be a good idea to essentially turn on Melodyne, use Melodyne, you get the audio into Melodyne, and then export the audio out so that it helps. For instance, if you have it sounding good in Melodyne and then I copied these audio clips over, it's not going to copy the actual Melodyne. So what we're looking for is really what we exported, which is all the Melodyning stuff on its own.
You're being lied. You're being lied.
Cool. So now what I want to do is bring this over the actual part of the song that I was talking about, and then we're going to use the little Alter Boy plugin to mess with it some more. All right.
You're being lied. You're being lied. You're being lied.
Whoops. All right.
You're being lied. You're being lied. You're being lied.
All right. Cool. I did. Let me duplicate this channel. So let's hear a little Alter Boy added in, with a little bit of negative formats. So I like some of that. I don't like other parts of that. Let's add in this other vocal chop thing that I had done. This I don't think has any Melodyning in it yet, but I'm essentially thinking I want to reverse some of these audio clips and then put them into Melodyne, mess with the pitch again, bring them out of Melodyne, and then affect them. So let's hear this together. Oh gosh, that sounds pretty brutal. Yeah. We've got to go into Melodyne, so let's do that. I'm going turn down Melodyne. All right. Cool. There we are. So let's keep messing with these. All right, so at least this should be a lot more in key. All right, in Melodyne we also have a volume control, where is that? Amplitude tool. So I can get those volumes more consistent. Cool, it's getting there. Let's now take those formats. All right, getting pretty crazy. Some of these are already reversed sounds. One thing that can be kind of cool is to oh, I almost made a mistake. So remember how I was saying we have to export out of Melodyne? I was about to mess that up. So I'm going to want to print these in place. Another bounce in place. What was that? Control B. For those of you Logic users. All right, turn Melodyne off. Mute that original channel. We've got that here. All right, so taking a phrase like that out, and then you're going to want to make that a new audio file so we don't actually